Most Linux distributions ask a familiar question. What should your desktop feel like? Qubes OS asks a sharper one. What should your desktop trust? Its answer is wonderfully unusual. Do not put your whole digital life in one room and hope every door holds. Build rooms. Label them. Keep the risky work away from the precious work. Then make those rooms usable enough that security becomes a habit instead of a ceremony. Qubes OS is a free and open source, security-oriented desktop operating system built around Zen virtualization. Its core idea is security by compartmentalization. You work in isolated cubes, maybe one for personal browsing, one for work documents, one for banking, one for experiments, and one called untrusted for the web pages you would rather not invite near anything important. They can sit on the same screen, but they do not share the same blast radius. If one compartment is compromised, the design aims to keep the damage from casually spilling into the rest of your day. Core feature 1 is that compartment model itself. Qubes does not merely add a sandbox button to a normal desktop. The cubes are the desktop. Apps run in separate virtual machines with specific purposes and trust levels. Underneath them is a privileged admin domain called DOM0 that stays deliberately small and does not run your ordinary browsing or email. That changes the mental picture of the computer. Instead of one giant trusted pile, Qubes becomes a map of borders. Feature 2 is how visible those borders are. Qubes puts windows from different cubes into one unified desktop, then marks them with colored window borders and cube names. Blue can feel like work. Red can warn you that a window is untrusted. Yellow can mean something in between. The point is not decoration. The labels are drawn by the trusted window manager, so an app inside a cube cannot simply repaint itself as more trustworthy. In Qubes, color is part of the user interface for judgment. Feature 3 is the template system. Many app cubes can share a clean root file system from a Fedora or Debian template while keeping their own private data separate. That gives Qubes a clever balance. Isolation without duplicating an entire desktop stack for every tiny task. It also enables centralized updates for cubes based on the same template. Update the template, restart the cubes when convenient, and one maintained base can support many compartments. Security architecture is easier to live with when maintenance does not become a second job. Feature 4 is disposables. Some files deserve curiosity, but not commitment. Qubes can open files or launch tasks in disposable cubes that are designed to be thrown away after use. A suspicious attachment, a one-off document, or a quick risky browse can live in a temporary environment instead of leaving its footprints in a long-lived workspace. Qubes can even send edited changes back to the original file when that is what you choose. The disposable idea feels like clearing the table after a messy experiment. Feature 5 is isolating the system plumbing. Networking can live in a special net cube instead of in the privileged admin domain. Network cards, Wi-Fi stacks, firewalls, and USB handling are treated as parts of the threat model, not invisible background magic. That is a signature Qubes move. Take components that often receive broad trust, put them in narrower boxes, and reduce how much a compromise can reach. The operating system is not pretending risky code disappears. It is deciding where that code is allowed to stand. Feature 6 is controlled sharing. A secure desktop cannot be useful if every compartment is a sealed museum exhibit. Qubes supports intercube clipboard and file transfer with deliberate user actions and policy boundaries. Copying text between cubes uses special shortcuts. Moving files asks you to choose the destination. That friction is the point. It turns data crossing a border into a visible choice instead of a silent leak. And feature 7 is flexibility. Qubes can combine different operating system templates and cube roles on one desktop. Fedora and Debian are common foundations. Windows cubes are part of the broader design. Whonix integration can route privacy-focused work through Tor in a Qubes-aware way. You are not forced to make every task wear the same uniform. You build compartments around purpose, risk, and workflow. That also explains who Qubes OS is for. It is not the easiest first Linux distro, and it is not chasing the lightest laptop footprint. Virtualization asks more from the hardware and more from the user. But for journalists, developers, researchers, privacy-minded people, security professionals, and anyone who thinks one browser profile is a very thin wall between worlds, Qubes offers a desktop with a serious imagination. Qubes OS turns the operating system into a city of small trust zones. The beauty is that the city still feels like one desktop. You see your windows, open your apps, move your files, and do your work. But beneath that everyday surface, Qubes keeps asking a useful question. What truly needs to trust what? For a security-focused Linux distro, that question is the feature that powers all the others. You have just seen why Qubes OS stands apart. A desktop built around visible trust boundaries and purposeful isolation. If you are ready to explore Qubes OS for yourself, you can skip some of the extra work of preparing install media from scratch. Use the link in the description to consider buying a ready-to-use Qubes OS bootable USB or DVD. That way, you can spend less time worrying about the first media preparation steps and more time getting ready to boot, evaluate, and install with care. Before installing any operating system, back up your important files, check that your computer is suitable for Qubes OS, and review your installation choices carefully. When you are ready, open the description, choose the Qubes OS bootable media option that fits your setup, and begin your next step with confidence. Thank you for watching.